Yeah. Okay, in this upcoming tutorial, we're going to get down, we're going to get funky, and we're going to make these fish. Join me soon. I'm Cheryl Hann-Woodlock at Hann-Made Studio. Let's get down. Yeah. Woohoo! Hi and welcome back. The tools that we will need for today. Clay, I'm using the school white clay. It's a great hand building clay to work with by Clayworks here in Victoria. You can use any other clay as long as it's pretty robust. We also need a cloth to roll out on. An old pillowcase does the job really well. A rolling pin, I've got a wooden rolling pin, quite a wide one. A knife to cut with, a wedging wire to cut our clay. Then I have some really fun tools. Now you don't need these are just tools that I like to play with when I'm making my funky fish. Ribbon tools, these are trimming tools that we use on the potter's wheels, but they are also really good for doing fins on our fish, fins and scales, so they work really well. The end of a texter. This has a really cool decoration on the top of it, so that could be fun to work with. A skewer. They are always handy. They have a nice little dot at the end and a little pointy end, so they work really well. A pencil always works. A chopstick that has a nice round end on one side. It's actually a squarish end, and then it has a nice round end there. We could also use, this is a rib that I found in my studio. So it has these little serrated edges that could work really well. A straw, that's got a really nice round hole. So I could make little round holes in that. That could be really cool too. A big straw. So this is just a piece of pipe, a little piece of plastic pipe, and that could make some really cool little holes too. The end of a spoon. This has a really nice decoration. So if I press that in, I could get some really cool scales happening on my fish. I could also use the spoon end as well. So there's some of the tools that you could use to make your funky fish. What you do need is a template for your funky fish. I have a small fish, which is my funky fish down here. I use him all the time. I have my big funky fish, which is the one I made for here. It's up to you which fish you want to make. You could design your own. For today's project, I'm going to use the smaller funky fish. It means we will finish quicker and it will be easier for you to handle. Get your cloth and open up your clay. So don't break your plastic. If you break your plastic, it means you can't reseal your bag later when you've finished with it. So just break the seal, pull it down. Then you can work out how much clay you actually need. For this project and this fish, my fish just about fits on top of that. And I want my clay to be around about 1/2 inch thick, which is around about a centimetre. So we're going to cut this piece of clay around about 1 inch thick. That gives me a little bit of room for error. Grab my wedging wire, put it down around about 1 inch, which is about 2.5 centimetres. Cut through to myself, lift that off, and I have my square piece of clay, which is easily going to fit that fish. Rolling out a slab of clay is quite easy, but there is a technique to it. I'm going to show you my technique. I'm going to put a line in the middle and an arrow. That line in the middle and the arrow is where, that line in the middle is where my rolling pin is going to go. The arrows are where I'm going to push out. Hold your rolling pin so it is in the middle. Now I'm going to gently just push it out. Just gently. Now I'm going to turn halfway and push from the middle out. I haven't pushed it too much. I've only pushed it down possibly around about 1/4 inch, 2 to 3 mil. It's only 2 to 3 mil thinner, and you can see on the edge that the clay is moving out, but the bottom hasn't moved out. So now I'm going to flip the clay. So hand on top, gently tilt, and put the clay back down gently. Start again from the middle, push out. It's easier to push a door open than it is to pull. And flip. You need to keep flipping your clay because otherwise it will stick to the cloth and it won't get bigger. It will be stuck to the fabric. So remember to release the clay from the fabric and flip. Keep going until we have a centimetre thickness on the clay, which is around about 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to do a 1/4 turn. So I'm going to roll in the opposite direction to try and keep this more even. And this is really big now, so I'm spreading my hand out and gently flipping it over, trying to keep it flat the whole time. And now that is relatively even, I'm really happy with that thickness. If I'm not too sure about the thickness, I can just use my knife, put it in on the side, put my finger there, and that is the thickness that I have at the moment. So it is around about 1 centimetre, 1/2 inch. We're ready to use our template and trace around this. This is my template. I can put that on. I want to make sure I've got quite a large piece here so I can actually cut out 2 from this. Using my pencil makes it a lot easier to trace around. Most people are used to pencils and you can do it very lightly. And there I have my area traced out. So I can trace out another one. The next thing we're going to do is to cut it out. I have my knife here. It's got a lovely little pointy end, which means it will slide through a lot easier. It won't stick to the clay as much. A pottery knife is even better. It's a lot thinner. Before I cut, I'm going to wet this knife and make it slippery. Cutting into the clay, I'm going to start from the outside and work my way in, go around, and cut that piece off. If I lift it up, I can put that away. Turn it around. It's easier to work on your right-hand side if you're right-handed. So I'm right-handed. So start from the outside, work your way in, and go around. Clean your knife again. The other thing I didn't do then, I didn't go right into the bin where it was. I can do that later. I'm just doing a basic cut for now. And I'm going to start on the end here. That's going to be an easier cut for me to do. Clean my knife and slice it through. Again, we're going to keep cutting. So I'm going to just start away from it. This piece comes out. And now I can lift this up very gently. And I have roughly a fish. I still need to do a little bit more cutting. This I can now put onto a small board. So I'm going to gently lift it up and place it onto the board without bending it too much. And there we go. I'll put this one to the side for later. If I don't want the other one to dry out, I can wrap it up in Glad wrap or a plastic bag. We need to get now inside here. Get your knife and gently go around. Now, if you notice when I'm cutting out my fish, I actually don't do sharp corner cuts with a V like that. What happens with those V's is that they can actually split and open up later during the firing. So we try and do a curve. This side now, turn my board around, clean my knife. Now, on this piece, I am going to do a little V, but I'll show you how I fix that up. I've got a rough outline now. But this little V, what I'm going to do with my pencil, I'm going to gently push that in. And that compresses the clay and makes it stronger, so there's less likelihood of it cracking open either during the drying process or my firing process. I've got a flat fish. This fish is not flat. It's got a bump in it. So I'm going to make the bump fish. Join me soon. I'm Cheryl Hann-Woodlock at Hann-Made Studio. Let's get down. Yeah. Woohoo!